everybody is starting to notice something that honestly feels different when it comes to Pearl Watts and Maurice Sam, because the way these two are using silence in their scenes is beginning to shake viewers in a way Nollywood fans are not used to, and it's becoming a full conversation on its own. Because normally when you think of powerful acting you expect strong dialogue, emotional speeches, big expressions. But with these two it's like they have discovered a completely different level where they don't even need to talk to deliver impact, and fans are now saying their silence is actually louder than dialogue. And if you really pay attention to their recent movies, you'll see exactly what people are talking about, because there are moments where both of them just pause, look at each other. And in that short silence, something heavy happens, something deep, something that makes viewers feel like they just witnessed a whole conversation without a single word being spoken. And that alone is what is driving people crazy online, because how do you explain that kind of connection? How do you explain a moment that has no dialogue, yet leaves people emotional and thinking long after the scene ends? And this is exactly why fans keep replaying those silent parts again and again, trying to understand what makes it hit differently. And what makes it even more interesting is that this trend is not just happening quietly, it is exploding, especially on YouTube, where reaction videos about their movies are now trending heavily, and content creators are literally building full videos just around a few seconds of their scenes, and you'll see people pausing mid-reaction, holding their heads, saying, "Wait, what was that look? Why did that feel so real? Why did that silence carry so much weight?" And some reactors even go back multiple times, just to catch the exact moment where the emotion shifts without any words. And this is where things start getting deeper, because it's no longer just watching movies, it's now analysis. Fans are breaking down every detail, every eye movement, every pause, every breath, trying to decode what is really happening between these two on screen. And the more they analyze, the more questions they have. And the more questions they have, the more the trend keeps growing. And now their pairing has reached a level where it is being seen as a guaranteed emotional movie hit. Because once fans see Pearl Watts and Maurice Sam together in a project, expectations automatically go up. People are no longer just watching for entertainment, they are watching to feel something real. They are watching for that emotional experience that only these two seem to deliver effortlessly. And that kind of reputation is not something that comes easily, especially in an industry where new faces and new stories are constantly appearing. But somehow this pairing has managed to stand out and create a unique space where their presence alone is enough to pull viewers in. And now the conversation is shifting towards producers, because fans are no longer keeping quiet about what they want. You will see comments everywhere saying, "Cast them together more often, we need more movies with them. Don't separate them, this chemistry is too strong to waste." And this demand is not coming from hype alone, it is coming from repeated experiences from viewers who have felt the impact of their performances and want to feel it again and again. And this is where the pressure begins, because once the audience identifies something that works this strongly, they will keep pushing until they get more of it. And right now what they want is clear. They want more collaborations, more stories, more scenes, where silence becomes the main language and emotion becomes the focus. And what makes this even more interesting is that some fans are now questioning whether this level of connection can even be acted, or if it comes from something deeper, because many believe that what they are seeing cannot be forced. It feels too natural, too comfortable, too real. And this has opened up another layer of discussion where people are speculating about what happens behind the scenes, wondering if there is a level of understanding between them that goes beyond their roles. And whether that is true or not, it is definitely adding more attention to their pairing and making people even more invested in what they do next. And at this point, it is becoming clear that Pearl Watts and Maurice Sam are not just acting together, they are creating moments that people connect with on a deeper level, moments that feel personal, moments that stay with viewers long after the movie ends. And that is why the silence in their scenes is becoming such a powerful topic, because it represents something different, something that breaks away from the usual pattern and introduces a new way of storytelling, where less words create more impact, and fans are fully embracing it, because it feels authentic, it feels refreshing, and it feels like something they don't get to experience often. And as long as this continues, the reactions will keep trending, the conversations will keep growing, and the demand for more of their collaborations will only get louder, because the audience has already made up their mind. This pairing works, this connection is real on screen, and this is something they are not ready to let go of anytime soon. Fire. And now another thing fans are beginning to point out is how even the smallest details in their silent scenes are starting to carry meaning, because it's no longer just about eye contact anymore, it's about the timing, the breathing, the way one person looks away. and the other keeps staring. And all those little things are now being noticed and discussed heavily, because viewers feel like every movement is intentional, and nothing is random, and that level of detail is what keeps people glued, because they feel like if they miss 1 second, they might miss something important. And this is why rewatch value for their movies is becoming very high, because one watch is never enough to fully understand everything happening in those quiet moments. At the same time, the influence of these reaction videos on YouTube is creating a cycle that keeps pushing their popularity even further, because once one creator reacts, others follow, and before you know it, the same scene is being discussed by multiple people from different perspectives, and each person adds something new to the conversation, and this creates a chain reaction where more viewers get curious and go back to watch the original movie, just to see what everyone is talking about. And once they watch, they also become part of the discussion, sharing their thoughts and emotions, and this continuous cycle is what is keeping their names constantly trending. Another angle people are talking about now is how their pairing is slowly setting a new standard for romantic storytelling in Nollywood, because instead of relying on exaggerated expressions or too much dialogue, they are showing that subtlety can actually be more powerful, and this is beginning to influence audience expectations, because now when viewers watch other movies, they start comparing and asking, why can't this feel as real as what Pearl Watts and Maurice Sam bring? And that kind of comparison is a big deal, because it means their style is not just being enjoyed, it is being used as a. Finally, the biggest thing driving all of this is the emotional connection fans are building with their scenes, because it's no longer just entertainment, it's something people relate to on a personal level, something that reminds them of real-life situations where words are not always enough and feelings are communicated in silence. And that relatability is what keeps pulling people back, because they see pieces of their own experiences reflected in those moments, and until something else comes